Welcome to Morganton Live. Really excited about having my good friend Thomas Mabry. Most people know him in Western North Carolina as the Badger, all his photography and stuff like that. Thomas, I'm a big fan. I'm glad you're on the podcast today.
Well, I appreciate that, Mike. I'm a big fan of what you're doing here in Morganton, too. One of my favorite places in Western North Carolina. When I drive down here from Asheville, I'm going, why am I not in Morganton?
You're right.
But that's a story for another
Yeah, we're married
day.
to one another in those regards, Western North Carolina. I first seen, Kathy Lee introduced me to you and on Facebook. And, man, the first time I seen some of your pictures of the gorge, man, and Table Rock, which I'm real passionate about that,
Correct.
and you've got pictures all over eastern Tennessee and places people don't even know about, and I'm just a big fan. I kind of want to know a little bit about you, Thomas, kind of your backstory and kind of how did you get into this, and I know you're from Knoxville and your
Correct.
family's 1700s, I mean, all kind of stuff. Tell me a little bit about you, Thomas.
Well, yeah, my family ended up in Knoxville in 1745. And we have a house I'm a direct descendant of someone who built a house in Knoxville.
Wow.
That's on the National Register of Historic Places.
That's awesome.
And that was built in 1858, and it's still there.
Yeah.
It's in a foundation. It's called the Mabry Hazen House.
Right.
And so my family goes way back in Knoxville, and from Knoxville. I was born in St. Louis. My dad was in the shoe business.
I got you.
Came back to Knoxville and went to elementary school and high school in Knoxville and played sports.
Right.
Football, basketball, golf, and just about every sport.
Right.
And hiking, and we did a lot of different things because we're right there in the mountains.
Right. Yeah, that's the great thing about being so close. Us as neighbors of Tennessee, it's just the mountains it draws everybody. It's just ever since I've come up here, I'm always drawn to the mountains. It just feels like God's country to me, and just the views and you capture all that stuff. How did you get into doing those kind of things and just photography in general?
Well, when I was a lawyer for 35 years, and I retired from being a lawyer for 35 years, and I'd had enough of being a lawyer for 35 years, and
you don't hear that much.
I understand, and it's not. I'm not here to denigrate the profession.
Sure,
it's just that it's time to do something else.
Sure.
So I got to be around 60 years old, and I was
Yeah.
doing some liaison work for the Indians in Cherokee with the casino, with Caesars Entertainment. And then I started enjoying being in Cherokee.
Yeah.
And then I actually moved to North Carolina, moved to Waynesville.
Okay.
Eventually ended up in Asheville and got with a group of people that did some off-trail hiking,
Right.
which is some of the stuff I did when I was growing up.
Right.
So we went to some marvelous places, unbelievable things that one can see.
Right.
And there's a hardcore group of waterfallers in Western North Carolina, and I ended up with that group, fortunately, and that was one of my passions. And from that, to answer your question, started in photography because a lot of us would set up and take pictures of the waterfalls and the landforms and the other things that we saw out there.
Right.
And so from there, I wanted to get better because I guess somewhere in my DNA, I always want to improve myself regardless of what's going on.
Sure.
And I didn't know. My cousin in Knoxville, Teresa Mabry, is a professor of photography at a junior college, and so she set me up with some Canon equipment. And from there, I just started taking a lot of pictures, and I enjoy it. I enjoy getting out and doing that.
I'm the same way. You capture, I like capturing moments, and the same way with what we're doing here at Morganton Live is capturing people's moments and their backstories and that kind of stuff, so people know about people and all the things. And your portfolio is amazing to me. And and every time I look on Facebook and I see where you're at on the Appalachian Trail or somewhere in Eastern, and I'm like, whew, boy, that looks cold to me.
Oh, there's some places that are cold. Some of my best photographs are from Roan Mountain.
Right.
And some of them are internationally recognized now, and I'm really fortunate for that.
I love it.
One of the days, went up there with a friend of mine named Charlie Wilkins, and he enticed me to go up to Roan Mountain. It was 22 below zero with the wind chill. And so Charlie and I went, and we obtained some unbelievable pictures of sunrise.
Yeah,
and
I know.
It was cold. My fingers were cold. I think I still have a little bit of frostbite in the fingers, but those kind of experiences you never forget.
Yeah.
And I live for that, Mike. I really do.
Yeah.
That's great stuff.
Well, you know, you got the name Badger. Now, kind of tell us a little bit about that, how that come about, because that's kind of a unique story in itself. And you know,
it is. You know, the honey badger in the last 15, 20 years has gained some notoriety. Yeah. There's athletes named Honey Badger, Tyrone Matthew.
Right.
I think I pronounced his name right. LSU, and now in the pros, he was called the Honey Badger.
Right.
And there's some videos that have been out. Some people have seen them, some haven't, about the Honey Badger. And there's a Nat Geo parody made of the Honey Badger.
Right.
And basically the concept behind the Nat Geo parody was the Honey Badger will go anywhere and do anything.
That's right.
Now that's really a sanitized version of what that video is about.
Right.
But anybody who's interested, it's just go and look up the Honey Badger.
Right.
Anyway, we were bushwhacking. A friend of mine and I were bushwhacking from the top of Flat Creek Falls in Panthertown to the base.
Okay.
On river left. That's a term of art that we use to determine which side of the river we're on.
I gotcha.
So river left being from the top, and we went all the way down. And I'm not sure if anybody had ever done that before.
Wow.
There's a couple people that claim that they had, but it was very, very technical and very difficult. And we got to the base, and my friend, who's about 30 years younger than me, said, "Dang, you're just like that honey badger. You'll go anywhere and do anything." I didn't know that because we hadn't hiked that many times before. So that name stuck.
Yeah.
And that was 2014 or 15.
Yeah.
So the badger the badger's about 10 years old.
Yeah.
And before that, I didn't have that nickname, but it's morphed from Honey Badger to Badger.
Sure.
And now my company is Honey Badger Images, and so I'm keeping that brand.
Right.
And one thing funny about the brand, my dad's 94 years old. We've had a running battle about hair since I was 15 years old or so. And my mom, who's 91, finally convinced him that the long hair is part of the Badger brand.
Okay, yeah.
So he doesn't give me a hard time about it much anymore.
So y'all living free.
Oh, yeah, living free.
I love it, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people, I can identify with that because, man, I tell you, the badger's tough, man, and the honey badger. And, just like I said, that Sub-Zero, I believe that's the name of one of the ones that you took while you were up there. Man, that's amazing to me. I mean, just to see that. It was a sunrise.
It was a sunrise, correct.
Sunrise. And, man, the stark distinction between them, I was like, wow, man, you got to be in the right place, right time to catch something like that.
Yeah, that was Sub-Zero Surprise, and it was in the WNC magazine, won the People's Choice Award this year. And the year before that, the People's Choice Award, and on the cover was the photograph that's in your office.
Yeah, we got to show that one.
Called A Hawksbill Dream.
I love the Hawksbill Dream.
And that's probably, to date, my signature photo.
I can see why. I mean, that's my favorite. I got it on my wall. I think everybody ought to have that picture on their wall. I mean, if you go up the mountains in western North Carolina, especially Table Rock, and the Gorge,
and Burke
County, I'm all about Burke County. To me, that's
correct.
Every Burke County citizen needs one of those.
Oh, I think so too. I need to talk to my folks down the street at the tourist,
the visitor center.
Visitor
Yeah,
center.
they've
Excuse
got
me.
one.
Yeah, they have one of mine.
Yes.
I
They've
think
got a
the
different
winter.
one.
Yeah, they had the winter shot of Linville Falls.
Yes, and that's
So,
beautiful too. Yes, so be
right.
sure to stop by the
I'm
Burke
gonna-
County
yeah.
Visitor Center because Thomas stuff's in there. And,
Yes.
and Kathy Lee's got a nice
Kathy
pit in there.
does. Steve Yoakum's
Anderson.
got. I mean, there's some Leslie Restivo. There's some outstanding photographers who have their work in the visitor center.
I love everything we're doing here, locally in Burke County, and you're a big part of that, just with your photography and stuff like that. Even though you're in Knoxville and stuff like that, you're just running all over the mountains everywhere. I mean, you were down in South Carolina, wasn't it, this past month or so, or somewhere?
Or so. A friend of mine had located a waterfall on the Blue Ridge Escarpment, and on a creek that's not even on a map.
Wow.
We call them
like a discovery.
blueless. Yeah, it was a discovery.
Wow.
And I probably somebody, God discovered it for. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
First to document it.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend Kitty and I, she loves the rock formations.
Yeah.
And so we went up there with Andy Kunkel and Christy Kunkel and Jackson Kunkel and Bernie Boyer and his daughter. And Bernie is a big waterfaller. If anybody's a waterfaller in Western North Carolina, they know about Bernie Boyer.
Right.
Because he's really the one that got the term waterfaller started.
What about that?
So, yeah, we're in South Carolina, and I photographed University of Tennessee football games. So I keep that Knoxville connection as well.
Well, tell me, Thomas, what's maybe what's one of the craziest things that's ever happened to you? While you were doing something. It don't necessarily have to be photography or that kind of thing. Just man, this really happened to me. It was a scary moment, or surprised me, or while you was out there, hiking or something like that, or anything like that ever happened to you? Catch you off guard, and a bear walk up on you? Or
Now that you mentioned bear, I was trying to thinking what was one of the most interesting things that's happened to me, and I was hiking with our waterfall group, and we had gone off trail to find a waterfall, and this was in near south of Brevard.
Right.
And so it was pretty vicious bushwhack, and my group was ahead of me. I'm a little older and a little slower, but perseverance will get you a long way.
He's waiting on the women and children to catch up.
Yeah, something like that. And so I'm taking pictures. So I come up, and there's a big rock formation, and they're on the other side of this rock. It's kind of like I'm looking here, and the rock's over here, and they're over here, but I thought I saw a better path to go straight up.
Oh,
and then I went straight up, and I saw what I thought was a boulder.
Right.
In this rock formation. It was about as wide, maybe 6 feet wide, something like that. And so I got up close to that, and the rock formation moved.
Oh, Lord, how much
and smelled.
Oh, Lord.
And so I was... it was the middle of winter. There was snow on the ground everywhere, and I was within 4 feet of a hibernating bear.
Oh, my word.
And so I alerted my hiking mates. I said, "There's a bear over here." And Andy Kunkel said, "We can't hear what you're saying." I said, "I don't want to wake the bear up, but there's a bear over here." And so I finally edged my way around that rock formation and got over to talk to them. And so they all had to come and take a picture of the bear.
The sleeping bear.
Yeah, I mean, that was just very interesting. I think we called the waterfall Sleeping Bear Falls.
Yeah.
But we have another name for it, which is probably unmentionable.
Right.
We have some unmentionable names.
we won't blot it out.
Oh, we don't need to bring it out right now. But
it's a family show.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean,
to a certain degree.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So, well, Thomas, tell me kind of what you're wanting to do in the future. What's kind of the future look for Thomas and Mabry and some of the excursions you're doing, the photography, and any other things opening up for you that you're interested in and seeing moving along?
Yes. I think the progress, Mike, for me in this third career, if you want to call it that, has been organic.
Yeah.
in the sense
develop.
that yes, in the sense that when I got out of high school in 1973,
Yeah.
there wasn't an internet. There
Right.
barely a personal computer. And now my life revolves a lot around social media.
Right.
And so I have a large presence on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like 15,000, 14,000 followers
Sure.
or something, 30,000 followers on Facebook.
Right.
So there's a little pressure there to keep the content up.
To keep it fresh.
Right. Keep
Yeah.
it fresh, and people expect that
Yeah.
now. And that's my own making.
Right.
I did that myself,
Right.
to myself. And so to keep the content fresh, I go out and take a lot of pictures
Right.
of a lot of. In fact, I was at the eclipse on Grandfather Mountain on Tuesday of this week, or Monday of this week, excuse me, and that was interesting as far as that went, but a little bit of cloud cover,
Yeah.
but we still got a little bit
Sure.
of that, a picture of that or two.
Well, you said something I think's needed right now is people getting out.
Oh,
For
yes.
so long, our generation, we were outside.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't, and now everybody's kind of inside games, everything else. But it seems like to me it's kind of turning back around. People are ready to get back outside again.
Right.
I know I can't stay inside but so long. I got to get out and do something. And getting out and seeing nature. And then a lot of people, they're inspired by the stuff you do. I mean,
Right.
photography and all the people that do it and those kind of things, people are just amazed that all that stuff's right here in western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, upstate South Carolina. We live in a beautiful part of the country, and a lot of people move here just from seeing stuff like this. Like, wow, where is that at? Grandfather
Right.
Mountain, stuff like that.
I get a lot of comments, which is thrilling to me.
Yeah.
From persons on social media
Yeah.
and otherwise about how I have influenced them
Yeah.
to go out and see more of
Sure.
the beauty of this area.
Yeah.
Or influence them to go out and start hiking.
Yeah.
Or influence them to get into photography.
Yeah.
And to take pictures of the beautiful things
Right,
in
right.
this area. And that to me is very rewarding.
Sure.
I appreciate that so much. And being an inspiration is better than not being an inspiration. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
I think a lot of people could, just sit around and watch television and
Right.
that sort of thing. And that's not really, I guess, what I'm built for necessarily.
I'm
Although
saying,
I'll
right.
sit down and watch a good show or
Sure.
a ball game or something like that. I'm not a freak.
Right.
But encouraging people to do what they really want to do,
Sure.
and maybe push the envelope a bit for them to do some
Right.
hiking.
I'm here with my good friend Thomas Mabry, the Badger. He's we're talking about photography, Western North Carolina, Eastern Tennessee, Knoxville, all the things that Thomas has been brought up in and grown up in. And Thomas, let's talk about your gigs and all the different things. You get one picture and people say, "Man, I'd like to have that," and then everything else starts coming to you, and people are saying, "Hey, can you do this for me?" What's going on with you in those regards?
Started getting from the internet photographs and from the Hawksbill Dream that was
Yep.
on the cover of WNC magazine
Yep.
last year. I've had a lot of people who are interested in prints, and so I've had some prints and I have a few galleries
Yeah.
out there now.
Well,
And
people
so
are like,
people can go pick. Yeah,
This is one right here, right? The people right here.
this is White Squirrel Shop, Lorraine.
Yeah.
We were down there a couple of weeks ago. She has a new exhibit of my photographs that are framed, and
Right.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's in Brevard, and
Yeah.
right downtown. She's got a wonderful store there. So if you wanted to get a Thomas Mabry original,
Yes.
that's one of the places that you can get one.
There's other places too, but what's your information where people can look you up? You're on Facebook, Instagram, all those kind of things. Is there? So I guess they can order anything from there.
Well, yes. I tried to keep it organic, and I
Yeah.
don't quote unquote have a store.
Sure. Yeah.
But persons will contact me through Messenger or my
Or
email
through
address.
some of the places that you've got set up. Yeah, any of those places.
And you can find me pretty easily if
Yeah.
if you type Thomas Mabry on Facebook or Thomas Mabry Badger or Badger, North Carolina,
right,
it'll come up.
Okay.
And then my Instagram is Honey Badger Images.
Okay.
And that has some of the best of my photography.
Honey
What I've
Badger.
basically done is put a gallery in Honey Badger Images.
Okay.
And so I will tell people, if you want to see all of the photographs that are, some photographs on social media are not printable.
Right.
The ones that are on Honey Badger Images, for the most part, are printable.
Sure.
And so that's where I direct people.
Yeah,
and so they contact me, and we have a personal touch. And I have a calendar that I've been putting out last year that was hugely successful.
Yes.
And a lot of people could not afford a big print, but they could afford the calendar. And so every month they have an art piece to look at.
Exactly. That's important. I think it's a legacy too, Thomas. I mean, you think of all the iconic pictures. I think about, what was the guy that always took all the pictures of all the national parks and stuff like that?
Ansel Adams.
Yes.
Yes.
Always, you always drawn to his work. You always tell his work, stuff like that. I feel that about yours. I mean, to me, that Hawksbill, not Hawksbill, but was it Hawksbill? It's Hawksbill, wasn't it?
The one that's in your office?
Yeah, it's
that's
Hawksbill. Yeah. I love Hawksbill. Table Rock's great. Table Rock gets all the glory and stuff, but me, I'm a Hawksbill guy, as far as hiking and stuff like that. But to me, I just can't think there's been a better picture. I mean, it's astounding to me. And you've got a lot like that, and so many other photographers and stuff like that. So it's a legacy to me. I think that's something like, wow, you got a Thomas Mabry. I know exactly where that's. I've been there. You know, and it's inspiring. You're inspiring in that regard.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. One of the things we were talking about earlier is I want to put, in my photography, I want to put the person in the place where I am to see that particular scene.
It's obvious.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say that they can tell which picture, that if they see one of the photographs on social media, they can tell immediately that's mine because of the style. Yeah. And it's like I put that person in that scene so that they can see what I see.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I guess has evolved in the photography.
Sure.
Although I didn't really, what do you set out to do in life, Mike?
Yeah.
I didn't know I was going to be a photographer.
Yeah. I was a lawyer. What happened
here? What happened here? But that's one of the things that...
organic, like you're saying, just developing. We have seasons in our life.
We do.
And I love all the different seasons. Sometimes I didn't understand them, or why is this happening? And then next thing I know, wow. To me, your whole... this sounds crazy, but just, one song or one portrait can define somebody. And when you got a whole portfolio like you do, I mean, it's just defining, who you are.
It's difficult to pick out a few pictures that are the best. Yeah. I had one earlier this year, and you were mentioning Ansel Adams, and someone had said, that just looks just like an Ansel Adams print. And I was going, that's quite a compliment.
Wow. What?
And it was taken up on the Parkway on the Lynn Cove Viaduct. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of these places.
Was it the snow one?
Yeah, the snow one. Yeah.
That's a good one.
I trekked up there maybe a mile and a half.
It was cold that day.
And the wind was blowing, and it was cold. And you get about halfway through some of these trips, and
you say, what am I doing?
What am I doing? Yeah. Right. What am I doing? What am I doing? And so, but when you get up there and you can photograph that scene, and it turns out the way that you'd like for it to turn out. Yeah. And you can share that scene with persons who are not going to be able to get up there and do that. Yeah. Either because
they'll appreciate it. Oh, yeah. They're like, wow, look at that. Look what he done. Yeah.
And a lot of people in my age group, and I'm getting a little bit older, they are inspired by looking at the photographs and seeing, well, gosh, if this is one of our I don't want heroes,
sure,
but this is one of the guys who we admire because he gets out there and does that.
Yeah, man. What about drones?
I have one, but I haven't used it. I haven't used it that much.
That's a different thing altogether. I didn't know if that was something. I can imagine some of the drone shots you could imagine get, but it's different with the camera too.
It is. It is. I'm just now getting into some drone photography. Yeah. We'll find out how that works out. It's interesting. See, I guess, Mike, the reason I haven't gotten into it is, when Kitty and I hike together, we go to places, and that's what you see.
Yeah.
And so my photography has been what you can see from the ground level or from the top of a mountain or from somewhere else. The drone pictures are great, and I admire the drone pictures, but that's not exactly what someone would see unless they're in an airplane.
Exactly.
Or something.
They like to walk in.
Yeah.
But like you said, you're putting them. Wow, look at that. And I captured it. Not like, it's nice seeing stuff up high and stuff, but when you're actually there in the photo, like you're talking about, put the person in, that makes a big difference.
Right. The other day, for instance, Kitty and I were doing some off-trail hiking. But to do the off-trail hiking, we had to go through Wiseman's View, which is very popular. That's where I took the picture of the Hawksbill Dream.
Right.
And so someone recognized me, and that happens a lot in western North Carolina. And they'll go, "Hey, Badger," and I'll go, "Oh, okay." I have to ask most of the time, could you introduce yourself, because they recognize me. Sometimes I don't recognize them.
Right, yeah.
But anyway, that person was at Wiseman's View to see the scene that he and his girlfriend saw in the Hawksbill Dream. I told them to get the real scene, you have to be there at dawn.
Right.
But a lot of people don't want to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go take pictures.
I know, that's right.
But you have to be driven to do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what sets you apart. And not everybody does those kind of things, and thankfully, you've captured those, and they're eternal, so to speak. I mean, I think it's a picture in somebody's heart, and every time I walk by that picture, I'm just like, man. I feel that right there. So, and that always brings that out to me. So, Thomas, thanks for being on the podcast.
Okay, Mike. Yeah, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed being able to talk about myself.
Yeah, and one more thing I want to talk to you about before we get out of here, and all the different things you was talking about, Kitty, and I want to know what Rock Sprite.
Oh, the Rock Sprite.
What is that?
Rock Sprite.
Is that like a badger?
Yeah.
Is that kind of name like a badger? Rock Sprite?
It's like a badger.
Go anywhere, probably.
And for a rock.
Yeah, for a rock.
Now, Kitty's more into the rocks than she would be into, say, a waterfall.
Yeah,
although sometimes waterfalls flow over rocks.
Yeah.
But she is drawn to rocks and rock formations. And so we
she
end
likes
up
to
a
stack
lot.
them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, no.
What's the deal with that? You got out trees, people stack rocks. You walk across the trail, you see some rocks stacked up.
Okay, there's a benefit to that, real quick.
Okay.
They're called cairns.
Cairns.
And CAIRNS.
Okay.
And if they mark a trail, I'm okay with that. I mean, and I've seen them going to Big Falls.
Sure.
South of Brevard, there's a cairn that mark the trails. If persons are taking them out of a creek, don't do that.
Yeah.
Because it disturbs the hellbenders, and it's just not necessary.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Even though it's artistic, and it was in vogue for a while, it's just
there
not
you go.
necessary.
You heard it from the man. Well, Thomas, as we close out, anything you'd like to say to anybody, or where everybody can find your stuff once again?
White Squirrel Shop.
Yep.
You can find it. L&L Furniture in Spruce Pine, you can find it. Mountain Time Mercantile in Burnsville, you can find it. Sweetgrass Mercantile, Artisan Mercantile in Bakersville, you can find it. And also at the Catawba Inn Lodge, the Catawba River Lodge. Over in North Cove. You can find some of the prints.
Awesome.
Or contact me, and I'll do some commission work, which I've done for some persons, too.
Awesome. Contact Thomas, get his work. Look at him knocking his glasses out.
That's
but we're glad to have him on the podcast. I want you to look him up because he's a big inspiration to me, and I know he'll be an inspiration to you.
And you guys are a big inspiration to me, Mike. I appreciate you having me here. And Morganton's a wonderful place, and Burke County is also.
Thank you.
And like I said, I may end up here someday.
There you go.
You just never know.
All right. Sounds good, brother. We'll see you next time.
Okay. Take care. Thank you.